like you can even use the slant spiral in the air for like an instant dive kick. But alrighty, yo, what is up, Knights? Aegis Rick here, back with some more Rogue gameplay, guys. Now this is actually following a little bit of a hiatus for me from playing. I say hiatus, and I only mean a couple days, just because I've been busy with other games, and well, most importantly, Tree of Savior. I've been playing that for a while, so just signing in and playing that. The problem with that is I know there's a 2x EXP and 2x drop rate event, and Tree of Savior came at a pretty bad time because I do not want to squander that opportunity, not only to level my rogue, but more importantly, you know, all the other characters as well. You know, I got those, you know, I got that Azura, I got a level. I didn't even play him today, so, you know, I'm worried about all this events. Most importantly, I think is a 2x drop rate, just because of the nice benefits that I'm getting off of, you know, demon invites and demon challenges and ancients farming. If you guys are not capitalizing on this event, I gotta say you might be missing out on a ton of drops, honestly, for half discount technically. So, anyway, that's just something I wanted to mention. That's like, I want to play True Savior so bad, and don't get me wrong, I love DFO, but they pigeonholed me, man. They pigeonholed me into being forced to play DFO, even though that there's a beta going on for another game. But again, that's just something that's on the side. That being said, guys, we do have today, I didn't even know it, I think there might be an event I'm missing out on, but today is Friday, or at least when I'm recording it, it's just turned Saturday, and you know, we've had Burning FP the whole day, and I had no idea we were going to get it on Friday. I thought if they were going to give it to us at any point in time, it would have been on the weekend, but I guess not. I don't know. This is some kind of like secret event to me, because I was not expecting it. So I signed in today, played all my FP, on my Knight, obviously, did a bunch of Ancients, and now we're going to be leveling up the Rogue. Now, finally took this whole episode to talk about the Rogue, but just want to mention, you know, all these events going on. The problem, actually, with me talking about current events is the fact that I don't get around to rendering these videos until like a week later, so I don't even know what I'm talking about here. I mean, I know what I'm talking about, but, you know, it's going to be irrelevant by the time I upload this video. I'm just really bad at that right now, so hopefully, I don't know what to say about that. Hopefully you guys come to the stream so you guys can be more updated to more current stuff. But anyway, guys, let's just talk a little bit about the Rogue. Currently, we are in the old Screaming Cavern. Didn't even mention that. And we've been leveling pretty quickly. I think last time we were doing Contagion area, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, just been leveling smoothly along. I went back and did a bunch of my quests that I didn't do in the time gate. That's kind of how this region works, right? It's just like, you know, do all of your quests and hope to God that you don't run out of them, because you're gonna be hurting for EXP later on. Now, this quest in particular in the Screaming Cavern, if you guys have done the extra quest, because each place has like, each dungeon has 2 kind of epic quest lines. The second quest line here in the old Screaming Cavern is a monster to do. I've already done this run like at least 20 times, so or something like that, you know, something ridiculous like that. So it's getting really tedious. Bam, nice meteor, or Ascent Spiral right there. And that's one nice thing about playing all these classes, guys, is that I don't have to call it the spin move anymore, or the spiral. I can, or the sonic spin ball. I actually know what the moves are called now, right? Because I've been using them so much. But leveling's been going pretty good, guys. Not much has changed. I was actually expecting that Screaming Cavern would have been like my problem child, actually, when I started doing it, because it usually is. It's like it's kind of a big jump in difficulty, I would say, from the previous dungeon you just did, Contagion area, and then, you know, old Screaming Cavern's just like where all of a sudden these mobs are like a lot tankier. Didn't have to really notice that too much since my gear is so much higher level. So been doing pretty well, guys. I haven't had no real problems, I guess, so far. So, and one thing I didn't mention that I really love about this class is the Shining Cup mobility on that. I mean, I can go across the whole screen with that. Also, I have this skill right here, which I'm finding is less useful than I'd like it to be. What is it called? Oh, it's called Breaking Rush. Okay, sorry. I had to lock this command up because I keep accidentally casting it. If you double tap, well, my command is double tap forward, jump, but if I'm doing that, I'm going to be running, so it's obviously screwing me up because I'm like running and then casting a skill when I actually want to jump. Like I've mentioned in the previous video, jumping is not something you really want to do on this class, at least personally, just because you can do some massive damage with the standing combos, but you know, when you need to jump, like if there's a moth guy or something that you gotta hit, you know, you want to be able to do that every time. So, trying to use the hit end right there. Didn't work out. Let's use the molting and got out of combo right there. Into the blade dancing. Nice. All right. So just showing you guys that the rogue actually has it in her. And I also want to talk about, you know, I mentioned a lot about the gear and how rogue is going to be gearing up. And as I'm getting closer to level 78, which I personally consider the max level in this game, because the only things I had to do after that point is, you know, grind time break and then grind power station. It's like all special dungeons from then on out, so the normal grind is kind of dead after that. Once you hit 78, you don't need to do normal dungeons anymore. So we're getting close to that point where I'm gonna have to start worrying about, okay, which are gonna be, how am I gonna be gearing this character out? And we'll talk about that right after I go turn in this quest. Alrighty guys, well it looks like we don't have any more quests over there at the Screaming Cavern, but we're going to move on here to the Naissance dungeon. And boy, can I just tell you a couple things before we talk about the gear, which is what I was talking about previously. I have been using this Express like non-stop. Express FP, and there's the Burning FP event going on right now. It is just a massive amount of EXP. I can't even imagine the times where I used to actually do the Burning events without Express on, because, dude, it must have taken me forever. At least twice as long as I've already spent on this. So, anyway, guys, as I was mentioning about the gear, I've been thinking about what I'm have to do with the gear status. Here's the thing about making a bunch of alts, guys, and this guy's like super annoying. This my guy. Get dodged. Accidentally used the Shining Cut at the end of that. Here's the thing about making so many alts in this game. It's, you know, making an alt, at least in my position, this is not the case for everybody, but at least in my position, I think making a max level character is easy. It's the easiest part about playing a character, is actually leveling it. And personally, obviously this is not the case for everybody, and the hard part for me is actually gearing the character out. Because I spread myself so thin, I don't have a lot of resources to gear characters out as well. And that's like the opposite for other people, I feel like. You know, some people are like extremely rich, only play like one character, and gearing out is actually easier to them than it is to actually make a new character. It's the opposite for me. So, that being said, I really have to dedicate myself to, you know, what I have to, what is the thing I can do to get my character potent enough to do some like strong content. That's all I really care about. I don't really want to overgear all my characters. I don't want to like make them as strong as my knight. I don't want any of that. I want to dump all of my resources into my knight. That's usually why I don't have enough to gear my characters out. But you know, I want to gear out my characters, at least the ones that I like, and I think Rogue is going to be one of those ones that I think is fine enough to play, but I don't want to try too hard in gearing her out. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Now, to do that, you kind of have to know like what it takes to be kind of strong with the class, right? What kind of gear do you need? Like, for instance, what OV set do you need to farm on your character, whatever character you're trying to play? Do you even need an OV set? And Knight is like maybe one of those classes you don't even need an OV set. You know, if you're playing Monk, you definitely only have to get one OV set. If you're playing a Brawler, you know, you need a 9-piece of Intense Bomb for the most part, you know, stuff like that. And with the Rogue, I wanted to mention the Rogue because the Rogue is like the only class I know who doesn't really gear. She gears with the OV set, but it's not a set bonus. It's only of the specialty gear that you get in OV2. It's a very odd kind of a setup with her. She's the only one I know that actually uses those what I would generally call useless gear, because they're not set gears. What it is you know, specialty gear that only drops in OV2. And generally the build path or the gear path is going to be farming OV2 easy or normal, because you actually don't want any set pieces on her. That's kind of the thing. You want hit end on every piece of gear because it can actually increase your damage massively. I don't know. I found a top piece on my alternate character just to look at what kind of damage it gives you on your hit end buff. It actually gives you 9% on the top piece. So just imagine all the pieces. I think it might add up to more than 40% or something. Maybe somebody who actually has it can tell me that. But you know, you get these pieces that aren't even OV set pieces. I think that is really easy to do because, again, like I said, you only have to do OV2 and you only have to do it on easy and normal difficulty if you want. You could also do the regular farming if you wanted. But you know, that's just an option. So I think that might be a very viable option for me. It really is truly just a matter of signing in, doing OV2 on like easy, which gives you free resets even if you're not very powerful, like would be the case with me. Do straight up easy and or normal difficulty, and you can pretty much get your set pieces eventually. You know, it may take a while because of how the drops work in OV. Man, this guy is gonna be really annoying. I have some real trouble dealing with people that are in the air. Yeah, let's use that. That's why you have that. Okay, there you go. Another cool thing about Rogue is that she has a lot of skills she can use in midair, like that Hurricane and the Hurricane right there. You can also use Shiny Cut in the air. Not suggested since it's only a one-hit attack, that hit attack right there. But yeah, you can use certain, like you can even use the Aslant Spiral in the air for like an instant dive kick. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So if you're making a rogue, and for the most part, you're not going to want a set piece. You're going to want like all pieces to be force hit end, which is OV2, not even a set piece. It's just, you know, buffing up that one skill. So it's freaking awesome, I got to say. And I think something I might get to doing. It probably won't be gearing much more because I feel like after you get that, you're going to be freaking set. You're going to be really powerful. And you didn't hear this from me, but I did hear from good sources that the Rogue, after her reworks or something, is going to be one of the strongest physical classes in the entire game. Like, you know, if you spent the time to actually gear her out in Ultra gear, like epics and all that, and maybe epic armor sets and stuff, she does have the potential to be the strongest in the game just because of how the hit end works. I mean, that's how strong her hit end buff is. One thing that you might notice is that she doesn't have any steroid buffs. Like, she doesn't, you know, how would you? I play so many characters that have like a primary steroid buff on like double forward space or something, you know, forward space. She doesn't have any of that because her gimmick, her way to increase her damage is hit end. And you can imagine, just because it's a percentage-based buff, you're benefiting everything that you do from it, not just a few skills. It's every skill that you do is getting buffed up from it. So hit end is just so important on this class. So I can imagine that being really potent later on when you actually have good gear. And I think having the hit end gear on that is something I want to do. And if you're playing a rogue, that's probably something that you want to do as well. Just because it's not a hard thing. That's the point I wanted to make. It's just not hard to gear this character out. It's, you know, don't have to set up for parties if you don't want to, all that benefits of doing that. So anyway, that was a long time talking. This is probably going to be a long video since I did 3 dungeons today, but it is Naissance dungeon, which personally, I got to say, you know, going back to the leveling thing, Naissance is one of my favorite dungeons because there is only like 1 room of backtracking necessary. Something like Old Screaming Cavern, technically you get more EXP, but you do more backtracking. So you spend less time in dungeon, less time burning FP. This is a more efficient dungeon for that, even though it's for less EXP. So just my personal thoughts on that. This guy's in the air, and use my vertical spiral there. Ooh. Am I hitting with a blade dancing? I am. Okay, so he's gonna come down. No, he's not even gonna come down. Oh shit, get out of here. Okay. Hit that tail, baby. Ooh, jumped in the air. That's a perfect jump in the air for Hurricane, baby. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This was a kind of a long video where I got to blab about just random shit. So anyway, if you want to play a rogue yourself, just some things you should think about, and just know that it's easy sailing once you get to the max level. I think OV farming every day, you know, you don't even have to think about it. Don't even have to think about setting up a party if you want. Just do it solo, you know, easy and normal. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And I will catch you nights later.